This video got released on September 21st, which means happy birthday, Nowi! Woo! Greetings and salutations. My name is Deltran, helping you make killing machines for Fire Emblem Heroes so that you can get the most out of the game. Today we're doing builds for Nowi Eternal Youth. We're going to go over those builds after we go over her matchups, but first, let's get her stats. When we apply Deltran's rubric to her stat line, we have one stat that hits the mark at 45 hit points. The rest are just a little bit short, but she has an amazing stat line because not only is she a dragon, but she is a trainee or a villager, depending on which vernacular you want to use. This is going to boost her stats all across the board, so you're looking at 163 BST. If you need to have this, just that little extra push in arena to get you up into the next tier, maybe you should take a look at Nowi. 45 hit points, like I said, is wonderful. 34 attack is really good as well. 27 speed, we're at that point where everybody starts to cluster, which means all the fast units that everybody's worried about are going to double you, and you're going to have hit or miss whether or not you're doubling anybody worthwhile. Defense of 30 is pretty good. Resistance of 27 is also very good. You can see how she compares to the rest of her dragon comrades. A few places she really excels at, like attack and hit points. The rest, not so much, but, you know, it's still really great. Let's see what she swings with. Well, she breathes on you. Lightning Breath Plus. This is nice. It gives you a distant counter built into it. Of course, it slows down your special trigger. That happens. But it's a wonderful, wonderful skill. Nowi ends up being a very useful unit because of this, because not only do you want to have one in your barracks to use, trust me, but you could also give this breath weapon to other dragons, and they will love having a distant counter. Rally Defense is her assist skill, giving allies a +4 defense whenever she's beat up a little bit, but she does come with defense +3, so you're looking at a Nowi that has 33 defense, which is rather usable there. And threat and resistance, you know, if people get a little dumb and get too close to her, she could just whack them really hard back. Look at the obituary, 7, 12, and 153. Ugh, lots of draws, but that does sort of show you she's meant to be a defender. She's not meant to stand there and kill a bunch of things. So you see the people that we're winning against up there. Some of them are pretty impressive. Now remember, we are a dragon. Dragons attack against resistance, not against defense. So whenever you see someone like Lucas up there, you're like, oh my gosh, well, yeah, his resistance is garbage, so you're just plowing right through him. Anybody else that's not on top there, we're actually hurting really badly. But if you look down below, we see everybody who's killing us. You're seeing gem weapon users, not all of them. If you initiate on Hector, you deserve to die anyway. And we see a couple of falchion users there, 3 of them. And so just stay away from anyone wielding that legendary weapon. Otherwise, we also die to big nuking mages or green mages, whatever happens to come across our path. No, it's cake is overdone. Milk and cookies, sweet. It's good. Hi, yes, builds. Yes. So what the best way to use her is actually just as a little moving wall. Against red, she's gonna stick around forever. And the fact that she's dealing magic damage back means that most of the red you find is gonna end up crumbling before her. Now, here's the thing, she doesn't have a lot of speed. She could still be doubled by the higher end red, and what's worse is those suckers have falchion, so we're really in danger from some of the higher end sword lords, especially Lucina. Just stay away from her, you will be fine. Otherwise, she's a wonderful, wonderful tank, can completely block red, can stop blue, can even hold up green once in a while. If you don't get overzealous, you can actually stop Brave Ike from coming at you. Also, you just don't want to go headlong at anybody. You don't want to charge anybody special. For the most part, she is meant to be somebody who sits there and you come at her. That doesn't mean that she can't take the offense to other people. Eventually, though, she will get a little bit worn out, and you're going to have to use her rally defense as opposed to herself in order to help protect your teammates. Hopefully, unless you're in a Tempest trial or something like that, might not ever come to that. Which is great, because when it comes down to it, her biggest asset is the fact that she has such a high stat line across the board. Even her low skills aren't really that low. So she can go take the fight to most reds you can be careful whenever you engage blues. You don't want to charge their special. That'll usually get you killed. And otherwise, she's just a great moving wall. I've used her in so many Grand Hero battles. I've used her in so many Bound Hero battles. I've used her in so many battles. I love Nowi. She's a wonderful unit. If you have a 4-star one sitting around, I highly recommend that you check her IVs, and then as long as you like them, promote her. She's a wonderful 5-star unit. Everybody should have one. Let's talk about some cheap upgrade options. Moonbow is wonderful. You can put that on her. Since she's not going to be doubling a lot, you want to have a low cooldown special. A lot of people like to go with Bonfire. Sometimes you can go with Ignis. And you know what? If you're doing a lot of PvE, you might be able to get away with that. Honestly, Moonbow is what you're going to want because you're not going to be accelerating that cooldown trigger a lot, and it's increased. So just do yourself a favor that way. Vantage 3 is wonderful. There's going to be a lot of times where she's on her last leg, but so is the enemy, and this is going to finish them off. This happens with so many of those draws that Vantage is really worthwhile looking at, but Quick Riposte 2 is easy to get, and it gives you a ton of kills, because just like how Vantage gives you those kills on the second round, Quick Riposte is going to give them to you during that combat. So it depends on how you want to build her, whether you just want to get it all done with out of the way and not leave the enemy standing there, or if you want the enemy to stick around and contemplate where it went wrong in life. Swordbreaker 3, though, is a wonderful breaker. Many breaker skills work well on Nowi. Swordbreaker is one of the ones that I recommend because it gets past those nasty falchion users. Forget them. Let's take a look at this build. It's actually 3 in 1. What we have presented here is a Lightning Breath. Keep that. Always keep that. Never change it. With the Moonbow, we're going with Fury 3, Swordbreaker, and Threaten Resistance on this for 57 wins, 4 losses, 111 draws. On defense, you're looking at pretty much the same stat line when it comes down to it. The DPT there is pretty neutral, and we're going to talk more about that in detail in just a moment. But the idea here is that you're going to go ahead and use Moonbow to smack into people. You need Fury 3 on her. This is going to help her win a lot of matchups. If you don't have Fury 3, you're going to be giving up a lot of wins that you should not be giving up. Swordbreaker is there because red sword lords are very, very relevant in PvP arena. You want to be able to confront all of them. Besides, a blue unit should be able to handle pretty much any red out there, and so this lets you do that job without having to worry about the sword lords with falchion especially too much. And Threaten Resistance is there. You can switch that out. A couple other great things to do is probably Drive Defense. Helps you protect everybody, and since you've lost your Rally Defense, this patches that up just a little bit. Let's take a look at the obituaries for this. Now, there's a lot of interesting things going on here. Whenever you initiate with Swordbreaker, you're getting a lot of different sword lords. If you want to know who's included in this list, you could clearly see here, but down in the doobly-doo, you'll find a link to the list of Deltran PvP threats, or DPT. So with this, you can see on offense, we're taking out Reinhardt. We're also taking out Ryoma and Ike and Brave Roy and Xander. And I hate to just read you all the names, and there's Black Knight. There he is. We're taking care of everybody who's super important in the meta, and honestly, if they have a sword, they're gonna fall. That's wonderful. On the other side, how I mentioned before that a lot of blues are gonna give you trouble, there's a lot of blues that are going to give you trouble. Also, if you just go headlong into Amelia, into Camus, they're going to go ahead and just charge up and smack into you, and you're done for. Minerva, always stay away from Minerva. Otherwise, this build can actually withstand a lot of punishment. Everything here is shown where if they can get a goad or a ward, they're going to benefit from one of those. Otherwise, you can withstand a lot of pressure from different bow users, from different mages. Just be very, very careful with how you go about things. You don't want to initiate on too many people because it's just going to screw things up for you. Let's take a look at what happens to us on defense. We're still getting all the sword lords, and we're still getting Reinhardt, which is awesome! So, of course, on defense, we're getting pegged by all of those spellcasters, and now we fall down. There's Brave Lynn here as well, finally getting into us. We don't lose to Celica. We don't lose to the armor whenever they initiate on us in this particular case. But you have to be very careful with how things go. Like I said, you got to be careful about charging people up. Now, one other thing I want to discuss, well, I lied to you, there's two. One, a lot of people are starting to look at Steady Breath. Do not get rid of Fury for Steady Breath. Nowi needs those stat points all the way across the board, otherwise you're giving up wins that you should not be. You'll be losing to people like Est. You'll also be losing to people like Reinhardt. I cannot condone a build for a unit that's supposed to be a tank, especially one that can tank either way and has a ranged counter if they can't defend against Reinhardt. I just can't do it. If you're worried about all those bow users and if you're just sick of them, you could swap out Swordbreaker for Bowbreaker. That'll get rid of all of the Sword Lords out of your wins on the defense, and it'll put them into draws. Every single one of them. Another option you could do is you could go ahead and put in quick riposte. If you go quick riposte 2 or 3 if you really are serious about bringing them into arena. On defense, you'll still have all these Sword Lord kills. On offense, you won't have the kills on the Sword Lords. Ryoma gets away. Ike gets away. Xander gets away. You're not going to like what you see there. However, whenever you use quick riposte, you double your kills against vanilla units. On defense only. Otherwise, on offense, you're having your kills. So when it comes down to it, it depends. You can switch out that B slot for whatever makes sense for you and your team. And hey, do me a favor, if you want to help me celebrate Nowi's birthday, go ahead and share this wherever you think is appropriate. If you like your Fire Emblem information hot and fresh like Grandma's cookies, hit that subscribe button. My name is Deltran. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate all of you. And until next time, take it easy.